the ICT Pulse podcast. I'm Michelle Marius, your host and the editor and publisher of ICT Pulse, the online platform where we discuss ICT issues from a Caribbean perspective. Today we'll be speaking with tech entrepreneur Melarka Williams, founder and CEO of Ingenuity Technologies, a software engineering, quality assurance and testing company based in Jamaica. Melarka, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
When I first heard about Ingenuity Technologies about 4 years ago, I believe it was focused primarily on providing software support. However, it has morphed into an award-winning company that offers a broad range of tech support services to enterprise and even startup customers. So Melarka, take us back to why you started Ingenuity Technologies.
Well, Ingenuity Technologies was started on the premise that, one of the things that I saw, on coming back to Jamaica was I actually saw that there was a need for a lot of automation inside of businesses. There are a lot of manual processes, and the way that businesses were conducting their operations, there's a lot of manual operations. So I saw that there was a void in the market to digitize and automate their systems and processes, and that's how we got started. We got started with a mobile banking solution and the mobile banking solution is a solution that allows businesses to conduct all their financial transactions from a cell phone. And once we did that, we actually just started going into other verticals and exploring other areas of businesses.
So just tell us a little bit about your childhood. Were you entrepreneurially inclined? Had you ran a business before? Did you start any businesses before?
You know what? I mean, if I think about my childhood was all about entrepreneurship. I dabbled in so many things, so to speak. So, for example, at one point in my childhood, I was in party planning. I remember the first party I actually planned with my friends at the time. We made $5,000 in profit, and maybe that's about 20 years ago. That's so long, and maybe $5,000 was a good amount of money, but it was never about the money. It was just about the business and just the thrill of doing something that's different. And apart from that, I've actually run a bar before. That's something that most people don't know about me. I had a friend that had a bar, and he was going away for a while, and he actually asked me to take care of the bar for a while. So those are my early entrepreneurial ventures.
I read though that you started Ingenuity Technologies with some, I guess what we call severance monies that you received from a job that you had before, and it was a tidy sum. From what I gather, and you seem to have invested most, if not all of it, into the business. And one would have said that for that money you could have, bought a house or even, have a sizable down payment or make some other sort of investment. Mm-hmm. So were you thinking about the fact that you could lose this money? Were you comfortable with the risk that was involved?
Yeah, you know what? My honest take on it is that I think that I was at a stage at that time where I could afford to lose it because, I was about 28, 29 years old at the time, and if I had lost that money, that severance money that I got and the money I had from my savings, I would actually have enough time to recover. So I didn't think much, if I lose it, am I going to be in a better or worse position? I didn't think too much about that. And the other thing about that, I just really believe that we could do something good. There are some good that we could actually do, and those were actually the main driver behind how we actually decided to plunge the money into the business and just start growing the company.
So I guess although Ingenuity Technologies is probably about 6 years old right now, was there ever a time that it may have looked a bit tenuous at it, whether or not there was a critical situation and maybe the business might have failed?
In businesses, there are always situations that are like eye-opening, and it can change the trajectory of the business forever. I remember 3 months after we actually started, I think those were the most critical stages for us because, within the first 3 months, things were rough. And there are several times when we actually wondered if the idea that we had was actually viable. But the main thing then and there was just keeping an open mind around, for example, what the business needs to do or what the business actually needs to focus on, and then just being able to pivot. From a business perspective, you might start a business doing one thing, but you realize that the thing that you're actually offering or the thing that you're actually providing that's not what the market wants. So you might have to pivot to something else.
So what was the pivot point for you? What was it that you were doing before?
Yeah.
And what?
So before we were just an IT company. We were just doing. If somebody wanted to install some server, we'd install a server. If somebody wanted to work on a phone system, we'd work on it. If somebody wanted to build a software, so we were just trying to figure out or trying to understand which area of IT works. So we were working along all of these different components. So we weren't specialized in a specific area.
And then I guess coming out of that, at least you figured out.
Yeah, exactly. Coming out of that, we figured out exactly.
So based on the fact that Ingenuity Technologies operates in Jamaica, I want to find out about what it's like doing business in Jamaica.
Doing business in Jamaica, it's good. It's a very fast-paced environment. Persons make decisions quickly. And persons, from a tech perspective, Jamaica is a very trendy country. So in the same way where, we want to have the best phones, we also want to have the best tech. So the adoption rate for technology is actually very good. So that actually makes business good.
What might be some of the challenges of doing business in Jamaica?
Challenges, I would say, challenges is just main challenges are, setting up a company. Just all the work that you have to do. Initially, when we start, we had to go to different government agencies, but I've heard that that might have changed.
Yes.
Somewhat. The other thing is that it's just hard to get your first initial set of paying customers. But once you've actually gotten over that hurdle, I would say you're actually in a good position. Mm-hmm.
And what has been your experience with respect to the support that's available to small businesses and startups?
A lot of support. I think we're so blessed as a country. You think about Technology Innovation Center, you think about Brands Center, you're thinking about Action Coach, you talk about Development Jamaica, JBDC. There's just so many facilities out there that if you seriously want to start a business or you seriously need help, these are all places that you can go to for help.
And how would you describe yourself as a manager and a leader of a company? What do you consider your greatest strengths?
I consider my greatest strength to be, my ability to inspire people. Our vision is to really make the Caribbean creators of technology and not consumers of technology. And that's what I strive on. That's what I share with the team from the perspective of, why do we do, what we do on a daily basis. And, people just have to have a bigger why to operate than, you're building a software, but, what is the big why? And being able to share that why and get buy-in from that why is actually very important.
And what might be the attributes that you think you need to probably work a little bit more on?
I think I like to get things done quickly. And use the word, so I always want things to be done very, very, very quickly, so maybe a little bit more patience, but I like to move fast. Yeah.
What has been the biggest lesson you've had to learn in running your own business?
The biggest lesson that I've had to learn in running my own business, I would say, it's just you just have so many different stakeholders that you have to manage. Your customers, you have to manage your customers, you have to understand your customers, you have to also understand your board, you have to understand your team. There are a lot of different facets that you have to understand and that you have to acknowledge to actually run a business. And I think that the number one thing is you just have to be selfless. So it's once you decide that you want to run a company, it's not about you anymore. It's about taking care of everybody and just making sure everybody's okay. It's your number one job.
So in having the vision for this business, nurturing it, I'm sure that, you may have had a few sleepless nights and maybe at some points too, you wondered about, whether or not you're going to meet, whether it's payroll or whatever the commitments were even in your personal life. And then now, as the business grows and it now has, as you say, various stakeholders, how do you relinquish to some extent the control of the business?
All right, so the number one thing is that, you have to really have systems inside of the business for you to relinquish control. We all like the Google model. We like these models where everything is just free and wild. I've worked at a Fortune 500 tech company, but without having systems and processes in place, it's hard for you to really relinquish that control. Here at Ingenuity, we have a lot of systems in place that ensures that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're actually supposed to be doing. And once you have those systems in place, then you can relinquish that control. For example, if you're talking about something that you're working on, projects, do you have a proper reporting system? Do people send reports at the end of the day or at the end of the week to show the status of a project? When you have these systems in place, it's very easy to relinquish control because you can always know what's happening, or if something is not happening, it's very easy for you to actually pick it up.
Okay. So I want to talk about, I guess, within the path of a business where you're poised for growth, but what often happens is that for you to grow, you need some influx of capital, but it becomes a chicken and an egg situation where you may not get the capital that you need to grow, but to grow you need the capital. Mm-hmm. I mean, from what I understand, and you can share with us the experience with DBJ, I think there was a write-up in the local newspapers about the Ignite program and the support that it was given to your company as well as others. And I therefore noted that you all have been able to evolve over the years to grow from what you started to where you are now. And I wonder, how have you been able to drive that process of the evolution of the company?
The evolution of the company, it's really the number one thing that has actually allowed us to drive the evolution is understanding, the customer pain points. So what is the pain point that the customer has? And what's your proposal or solution to fix that pain point? That is the key thing. Once you understand that area, you can actually provide a solution that will actually make your business very viable.
So in terms of the actual getting the access to the capital to help you to grow, because it's all well and good that you understand your customers' pain points, but it can be a challenge to actually...
I think that's where Development Bank of Jamaica has excelled, because they have actually stepped in the market and they've actually filled that void. And they fill that void from the perspective of your early stage company, and you have an idea that you need to test the idea or you need to let the idea work. They're able to provide you with seed funding to test that idea, get a few customers, and then you can actually move on from there to looking at one of the investing groups. Whether VCs or just any individual investing group as options for you to raise money.
And at least what inspires you at this point in your career? I mean, when you were just starting Ingenuity, you probably moved on sheer hunger and the desire to make something. But now that, things seem to be going relatively well, what keeps you inspired?
What keeps me inspired is just, I would say just the vision that we have. In terms of, I really want to see the Caribbean play, a major role within the tech space. So, that keeps me inspired. And I really want the Jamaican economy and the Caribbean economy to actually, I really want us to get it right and turn a corner, so to speak. So those are some of the things that just keeps me going and keeps me inspired. And, anything that I can do, anything can assist to the growth of the country or the Caribbean. That's something that really get me revved up.
And in terms of any sort of book or ideology that really has helped you, any recommendations, anything that you recommend regularly to others?
Actually, one of my favorite books is a book called The Compound Effect.
Okay.
And, it's something that I read, and it just talks about the fact that, small positive changes over time actually leads to overall big positive change. So because of that, I try to do, positive things every day. Or if I'm working towards a larger vision, irrespective of how large it is, I know that every day, day in, day out, I have to do something that's going to allow me to move to that vision increment. So over time, I'll actually get there, and that's just one of my guiding principles.
And in terms of where do you see Ingenuity Technologies in probably about 10 years?
Just a regional, just a very, very innovative company. I would say we will be one of those unicorns, those billion-dollar valuation company, and we're going to be based right here in the Caribbean and just have persons using our innovative products and services from all over the world.
All right, so although I guess I probably was very brief in my introduction about what Ingenuity does, and when you go on the website, you see a lot of verticals that you're playing. Give me just a sense as to what it all means. But let me hear it in your own words.
Yes. So, Ingenuity Technologies is a digital transformation firm. And what that means that we automate the systems and processes inside of a firm. So we eliminate all manual modes or methods of operation within a company. That's the transformation side. On the product side, we have one very innovative product called Ingenuity Forms. And Ingenuity Forms is a digital data collection analytics tool. So it allows you to collect and analyze data digitally.
So in doing that, so for a customer, what they do is that do they give you like the questions that they want to answer, they want answered, and you Ingenuity administer the survey, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's a self-managed platform and it's a SaaS. So we grant you access to the platform, and based on the access that you have actually been granted to the platform, you can design your own questionnaires or you can design your own forms. But we do have a consultation component, and within that consultation component, if you would like us to assist you with designing that form, designing that questionnaire, then that's something that we can help you with.
How different would it be, let's say, from using whether it's MailChimp or PollDaddy or one of those?
Yeah, I would say that the main thing for us is that we're not just simply a survey. Survey is just one module within the application. The other module within the application is the forms, which is just digitally representing any form that you have within the company. And then once you have actually digitally represented any form that you have, within your company, you can actually analyze all the data.
Have you felt any sort of, or did you have any anxiety with respect to the GDPR, with respect to the work that Ingenuity does?
No. I'm very, the thing about it is that, we're having our own data privacy laws passed in Jamaica, and I was fortunate enough because I'm the deputy president at Computer Society and I sit on the board at Jigsaw. So we actually did a major review of the data privacy law that was tabled in Parliament. We actually went to Parliament to do a presentation and share our concerns on it. So, I would say we're right up there. We understand, what the obligations are, the concept around protecting data and how data can actually be utilized. And, as a country, we're moving in the right direction. And I can definitely see, why the Europeans, for example, has actually passed that regulation.
Okay. And I think my final question here is that what aspects of your business are you most excited about?
Just the tech. I would say I'm most excited about the technology. Mm-hmm. Just the different SaaS solutions, the very, very innovative solutions that we have that are just transforming the companies that actually utilize them on a daily or on a weekly basis.
Okay. And are there any specific trends you're seeing, whether in Jamaica or the region globally, that you really are sort of keeping tabs on to see whether or not Ingenuity might absorb them in the future?
I would say the main trends I see right now is that there are two things that happen in the market. One, businesses are moving towards analytics or implementing data warehouses. So people want to have all the data that they have, within their firms. Companies have been collecting data, but the problem is that the data that we are, the systems are traditionally operated within silos. So those systems are now connecting, and because those systems are now connecting, those data is actually going into a central repository. And now, where I see as a trend now is that data is actually is being mined now, and decisions are actually being made from that data that has been collected. So once we have that part figured out, or once that's done extensively across the Caribbean, then what we're going to see is that we're going to start seeing, just real-time implementations of artificial intelligence, because that requires a good data set.
Okay. I think you said two things. Was there another one?
The only other thing is Internet of Things, because, with Internet of Things, what that allows us to do, that allows us to connect to remote systems, and that's a very, 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 very critical part, because if you think about how businesses operate and the fact that within the manufacturing sector, IoT will actually be playing a major, major role. from a technology perspective, and I really expect manufacturing companies to start implementing or rolling out IoT solutions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the ICT Pulse podcast. You can find links to some of the things we talked about on our website, ict-pulse.com. If you like this episode, please show your support by leaving us a review on iTunes, as it will help others find the show. You can email us at info@ict-pulse.com or drop us a note on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ICTPulse, or via Twitter @ICTPulse. We hope you'll join us again for our next episode. Take care.